Everyone thinks leveraged buyouts are about buying companies with cash. They are backward. The textbook story goes like this. A private equity firm identifies an undervalued company, borrows money against its future cash flows, buys it, fixes it, and sells it for profit. Clean, rational. The kind of thing you'd read in a business school case study and nod along to. But that story explains the mechanics, not the incentives. And incentives are where the real story lives. Here's what actually happened, starting in the 1980s. A few clever financiers realized something. If you could borrow enough money against a company's assets and cash flow, you didn't need much of your own capital to take control. A $100 million company, buy it with $10 million down, borrow $90 million, and suddenly you own the whole thing. The math was irresistible. Nobody in this story was stupid. Look at what they were paid to see. The debt wasn't a bug, it was the feature. Because once you owned the company, the debt was still there and it had to be paid. That forced discipline. Cut costs, sell assets, squeeze margins, lay off people, whatever it took to service the loans. The private equity partners got paid whether it worked or not. Management fees carried interest. The incentive structure was beautifully, ruthlessly clear. But here's where the story flips. Everyone assumes the debt was the problem. It wasn't. The debt was honest. It forced hard choices. The real engineering happened in the ownership structure itself. By taking companies private, you removed public shareholders, removed quarterly earnings pressure, and removed disclosure. You could operate on a different timeline. You could make decisions that wouldn't survive an earnings call. That's the actual innovation, not the borrowing banks had been lending for centuries. It was the asterisk removal of public scrutiny asterisk. Private equity didn't invent debt financing. They invented a way to own companies without answering to anyone but themselves and their investors. That changed who controlled American business. It wasn't buyouts. It was a transfer of power. The consequences rippled outward. Wages stagnated. Pensions got cut. Entire towns watched factories close because it was more profitable to liquidate than operate. Was this greed? Not really. It was just what the incentives rewarded. Change the incentives, you change the behavior. Nobody needed to be evil. The structure did the work. Today, leveraged buyouts are just business. Thousands happen every year. Some create value, some destroy it. Some do both at once, creating wealth for owners while destroying it for workers. The financial engineering itself is neutral. It's a tool. The question isn't whether LBOs are good or bad. It's who bears the risk and who collects the reward. And that answer depends entirely on who has leverage. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Subscribe for the next deep dive into how fortunes are built and who really pays the price. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.